Good morning, everybody. Welcome to week 4, module 4. This is your halfway point once you get through this week. I know we're moving quickly, but hopefully you're finding the material to be helpful as you think about how you might lead change in your own organizations. So this week we're going to talk about resistance to change and the topic of organizational culture. So some of you, I'm sure, have done some work on organizational culture in the past. So here we're looking at, and that's what this model is, trying to understand the underlying values and assumptions that people have in this organization and that you need to adhere to or play by if you're going to be accessible, you're going to be successful. It's hard to see culture. It's not like on the wall, or maybe it is, but you can't be sure that it's the true culture. But what we can look at is the visible artifacts. So here's some examples. What are the stories people tell? What are the language people use? The physical surroundings, the clothing, benefits, the office environment, how we treat each other, what gets rewarded, what we say, and how well we walk the talk. Those are all artifacts to look for, to look at and analyze to try to figure out company culture. So we're going to look at a specific situation that's really tough this week. So how do you go about changing culture? Okay, so first we have to understand what culture is. And an important reason, or one reason that we're looking at this, is because you can go through a strategic planning process, you can have great strategies and great ideas for moving forward, but if your culture does not support your strategy, it's not going to work. So the famous saying, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So no matter how good your strategy is, if you have a bad culture or one that doesn't align with the strategy, it's not going to work. We know that any kind of change is going to elicit resistance in other people. So you've already looked at some articles, The Neuroscience of Change, on the some of the reasons that people resist, right? It gets us out of our routine. It gets us out of that automatic processing. We have to pay attention. We have to learn new things. We have to stop doing what we've been doing. So it's disruptive to start with, even if it's a good idea. So this week we're going to look at kind of a combination of those two and apply it to a specific case situation in a general surgery unit, so hospital. So we've got some readings. So a couple of your readings are from the course pack, and a couple of the readings are from the big OD book. And these are classic authors on change and culture. So Kotter, obviously, we're using his book, his 8 Steps of Change. Ed Schein is kind of the guru on corporate culture and culture. It's written many books on it, so this is just an article from them. And then the specific case is Barbara Norris, Leading Change in the General Surgery Unit. So first, in the discussion, I'm going to ask you to take a look at this situation and try to figure out, who are the resistors? Well, first, what is the change? So that's just kind of making sure you understand the situation that Barbara's in. Who is resisting and why? So remember that in these assessments or in these assignments, I'm trying to assess your knowledge and understanding of the content from the course. So be sure that you're using materials from the readings and anything that we've assigned. So why do people resist? We know there are some certain reasons, but in this specific situation, who's resisting and why? And what should Barbara do about the resistance? All right, so what are some strategies? So basically the strategies range from force people to do it and fire them if they don't get on board. And then at the other end, there might be share information. You've just analyzed the Heart of Change book, so obviously a strategy that Kotter would propose is having to do with get people emotionally invested in the need for change, what the change is, and why it's going to be good for the organization. So do your initial post, try to get it up by Wednesday so others have time to respond, and then respond to 2 other posts by Sunday for full credit. And then your individual assignment this week is to look at culture, specifically look at the culture Where is it now? Where would Barbara want it to be? Like, what kind of culture? How would you describe the culture that she's trying to create? And then what are your specific recommendations for Barbara for how to shift the culture to create a high performing organization? So you don't have to spend a lot of time on resistance to change here because you've done that in the previous assignment. But this is really a chance for you to take a stab at actually changing a culture or going through and leading a culture change. So again, be sure that you're using concepts so I'm able to assess your knowledge and understanding and ability to apply the concepts, because this is what I want you to take with you is the models or the theories or the approaches, but can you take it to your organization now or in the future and use it to be more effective at leading change? So next week, we're actually going to be you're going to be working on the simulation. So I'm going to send out a survey and see if people want to jump on a Zoom to kind of go through the steps of running the simulation, depending on how much tech you have. It might be natural to you and you might not need anything. And certainly you can ask questions throughout the week if you have them as they come up. So look for a survey on that, and otherwise have a good week. Let me know if you have any questions.